Okay, no? So we're going to go back to the sample model for chapter 1. I sent this one already to our Google Classroom. Do you remember that I sent this sample chapter 1 model?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in chapter 1, no? In chapter 1, the title is the problem and its scope. And then the first part is introduction. And then there's a separate document that I uploaded in the stream of our Google Classroom. And that document is telling about how are you going to write the introduction. Do you remember that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many have read that document about the writing an introduction? How many have read that document? How many have read that document? Could you send me a signal that you have read that document, writing an introduction? How to write an introduction? Hello, do you hear me? How many have read that document, writing
Me, sir.
out of
Me, sir.
the
Me,
33?
sir.
Me, sir.
Me, sir.
Okay,
Yes. Me, sir.
okay, sige. So that's the first part of introduction. So I want you to write that introduction. You have the idea already. How are you going to write the introduction based on the document that I sent you that I have uploaded? Then after that, we go into the statement of the problem. So we have actually uh, checked the statement of the problem. You visited me for the statement of the problem for many consultation periods. So don't forget that your statement of the problem is actually being modeled into this kind of statement of the problem. So we have the first paragraph, the general, and then the second paragraph, the specific statement of the problem. So we did many corrections for the SOP. Then after that, we have the significance of the study. No? After the statement of the problem, significance of the study. In some cases, in some formats, after the statement of the problem is the hypothesis. And then we look at hypotheses if there is a problem that looks for significant difference between and among variables, significant relationship between and among variables of the study. For example, you ask on, is there a significant difference between blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah? Is there a significant relationship between blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah? So if that would be the nature of the statement of the problem, then that calls for a hypothesis. So that would be the time that right after the statement of the problem, you're going to have the hypothesis part. And the hypothesis would be classified as the null hypothesis and then the alternative hypothesis. So very common, the hypothesis is only stated in the null perspective. No? So in a separate video, I'll be talking about null hypothesis and then alternative hypothesis. So we'll go back to that kind of part later. So in terms of the significance of the study, you're going to state in here, who are those people? What agencies, what organizations can benefit the findings of the study. So as a researcher, you're going to look into who can benefit the findings of the study. And once you have identified the people, the agencies, the organizations that can benefit the study, then you are going to mention in what way they can benefit the study. So in the sample model, these are the different beneficiaries of the findings. So we have math students, mathematics teachers, school administrators, mathematics supervisors, then parents, then future researchers. So you have a copy of this model, so you can actually read the specific content, no, of the different beneficiaries of the findings of the study. What you are going to remember in the significance of the study is that when you are able to identify who can benefit the findings of the study, what are those different agencies or organizations that can benefit the findings of the study, you are going to mention in what way they can benefit the study. So you are going to specify exactly what kind of benefit and in what way they can benefit. The theoretical framework, we discussed that one already in many consultation periods. So I'll skip that one. Remember that you are going to copy the theoretical model for this, but you are going to justify on why this model is applicable to your own research proposal. Then we will go to the conceptual framework. So part of the sample model that I have uploaded is on conceptual framework. The conceptual framework is actually a framework that diagrams the overall study, the overall research proposal. So in here, it is actually stated as shown in figure 2. So we have here figure 2, which we call the conceptual framework of the study. So we start with the respondents of the study. So in here, you're going to mention the respondents of the study. And all of you have different respondents of the study. That's my assumption. And then next is level of difficulties encountered in teaching general math for senior high school. For this box, there is a variation among yourselves because you have different subject or field of specialization. So this box would have a variation on the content. But for this box, all of you would have the same format, reasons for the difficulties. And the next, strategies employed to overcome the difficulties. And the last one is training design. So the respondents would have a variation among yourselves. The second box, the level of difficulties encountered will have a variation among yourselves. Reasons for the difficulties, that's common to all of you. Strategies employed to overcome the difficulties, that's actually common to all of you. Then the training design, that's actually common to all of you. And if you look at the arrow, it provides a direction. So from the respondents, you are going to ask the level of difficulties encountered, then reasons for the difficulties, then strategies employed to overcome the difficulties. And from your end as the researcher, you are going to create a training design or develop a training design. And after developing the training design will go back to the respondents. Why? Why the arrow is going back to the first box, respondents? Because the training design is intended for the respondents of the study. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I will not let you copy the format. The flow is exactly the same, but I will not let you copy the design of the conceptual framework. But I want you to design your own as long as all of these are actually followed. Not necessarily rectangles. You can redesign the arrow. You can redesign the geometric figure. You can have this one top to bottom, or you can have bottom going up, or you can have it in a cyclical format as long as we can see the starting point, then up to the end of the entire research proposal. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All of the ideas
Yes,
presented
sir.
can be copied, but the design should be modified. Apply creativity, apply innovation when you are going to design your conceptual framework. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So next is the review of related literature. So
Yes,
I have already
sir.
presented a video on review of related literature. So this one is the sample review of related literature in the sample model for chapter 1. So I assume that you have read already these different parts, no, of the review of related literature and then related studies. So up to the last part. So we have this. It's a very long part. Okay. So this is the end of the review of related literature. And that is actually before research methodology. But what you are going to consider in the review of related literature, do not just copy the literature and then paste it. But the same to what we did in the theoretical framework. You've got the theory and relate the theory to the statement of the problem. You've got another theory and then relate that one to the statement of the problem. You've got another study, then relate that one to the statement of the problem. The same to what we did in the theoretical framework. For example, we have Gibbs learning, Gibbs reflective cycle model. So we relate each of those to the statement of the problem. And we look at into Birch experiential learning theory, no, the Birch theory, Cobb's experiential learning theory, and your own theory. So each of those theories is being related to the statement of the problem. So that's what you are going to consider in here. That you are going to have an a focus of the different literature, different studies, and that you are going to relate each. Do not just copy and then paste, copy and then paste. Follow the format, and there are some defects in the format for the review of related literature. But the clue in writing an effective literature is that when you have that literature, always connect that literature to your statement of the problem. Which part can be used in that literature, no? In the statement of the problem. So there is actually a connection of your review of related literature and your study. And what is that part in the study? Statement of the problem number 1, statement of the problem number 2, statement of the problem number 3, and statement of the problem number 4. So the same. Okay, sorry. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. So that's it. What's the last part that I talk about when I was before I was disconnected?
About the about RRL, sir.
Okay.
RL,
Did you
sir.
hear that statement nga dapat each of the review of related literature must be connected to your statement of the problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
I mentioned that the same to what we did in the theoretical framework, that we just do not say this study is anchored to the theory, but you are going to look at into which part in the theory is being used in problem 1, in problem number 2, in problem number 3, in problem number 4. Do you remember that one? When I discussed that one, during consultation periods? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sige. And then, we go to the research methodology. So research design, research design. So you can just copy, you can copy the research design. So I mentioned in here in this study, the researcher used descriptive and explanatory mixed research design, which are quantitative and mixed method designs. Explanatory research design, according to ICANN, blah, 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 suggests that the research in question is intended to explain, blah, blah, blah. And up to the statement, thus, these methods were used by the researcher since this study was focused on the determination of difficulties in teaching general math topics of the senior high school curriculum, its causes, and the strategies used by teachers in overcoming the difficulties. What you are going to change is about this one, topics. I commented this one already. Now we are not going to use topics, but what is to be used instead of topics based on the consultation period?
Learning competencies.
Learning competencies.
Learning competencies.
So even if you are going to copy the research design, you are going to look at into this statement. Miller 2005, ICANN 2006. I want you to add another literature to back up why descriptive method is being used and to back up why explanatory mixed research design is being used. So I want you to add. This one is ICANN, and according to ICANN, suggests that the research in questions is intended to explain rather than simply describing the phenomena being studied. Moreover, descriptive research method design is used to describe various aspects of the phenomena being studied according to Miller 2005. So I want you to have additional literature stating about descriptive research design and stating about explanatory. So first, copy what is in there according to ICANN and according to Miller. But I want you to add two more literature that will support on the use of descriptive method and explanatory method. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? You can copy
Yes,
everything
sir.
in here, and then you are going to change. No, you are going to change topics to learning competencies, and you can copy Miller 2005, ICANN 2006. But you are going to add two more literature. So two more literature for descriptive and two more literature for explanatory method. So is that clear to all?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Then
sir.
research local. No? This actually the setting. No? The research was conducted in the schools division of Siquijor. But I told you that since this one is a proposal, the tense must be present tense or future tense. Do you remember that one? In a research proposal, the tense is either present tense or future tense. Do you remember that one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And then copy the format on how the research local is actually presented. Okay, follow the format there. But the format will be changed according to the locale of your research proposal. Next, research respondents. So I want you to have a breakdown of your respondents. I want you to have also table 1 distribution of your respondents. Okay, so follow the format for table 1, no? Research respondents. Then research instrument. So the researcher employed a guided interview in gathering data. Part 1 asked on the blah, 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 and part 2 asked on the blah, blah, blah. So Just follow the format and contextualize that one based on your statement of the problem. Okay? So make some changes according to the statement of the problem. And then, this is actually stated here. Have you read this one? For the level of difficulties encountered as well, its reliability coefficient, its Cronbach alpha is 0.72, an acceptable coefficient for reliability according to ICANN 2001. Do you see that statement in the last sentence of the research instrument?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can delete that one. No, when you write your research instrument, delete that one. Because that one is only for a completed thesis. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
delete the
sir.
last sentence. What is the replacement? Jot down the replacement of that sentence. Okay. Hello, do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you
Yes, sir.
deleted na? Have you deleted na the last? Take note, no, nga, you have to delete the last sentence. Did you jot down notes for that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you read the paragraph? The instrument was presented to the math supervisor of Siquijor province and 3 master teachers handling senior high school general math teachers in Dumaguete City. Schools Division for Content Validation. Suggestions of the aforementioned experts were incorporated and the final form of the instrument was made and was pilot tested to select senior high school general math teachers. Have you read that one and have you seen that one in your file?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you are going to retain this statement. That would be the replacement of the last sentence that I told you to be deleted in your proposal. And that when you are going to say the instrument was presented, you change that one into future tense or maybe in the present tense. I have that directive. When you write the proposal, it can be either in the present tense or in the future tense. You can say the instrument will be presented to math supervisor because that is math. But if you have their English, so English supervisor, or if that is TLE supervisor. Did you get me?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
And then
Yes,
the
sir.
location would be depending on the research locale. This one is actually in Dumaguete. Why? When you are going to do validation, you are not going to use your own. This one was conducted in Siquijor, but the validation was conducted in Dumaguete. You are not going to validate that instrument to your target population. Okay, that is actually the process. Why? Because the target population will be your final respondents. And if you are going to do the pilot testing, then they know already the contents of your questionnaire. So as a process, you are going to validate that one to another school's division. But you are going to consider experts. Experts will be the one to validate your instrument. And one of the things that you are going to consider in terms of experts is that when we look at into math teachers' competencies, math teachers' difficulties, and all about math at DepEd, we can consider those math supervisors as experts, and then the master teachers for math as experts, or even the veteran math teachers. So if you look at into English competencies, then the English supervisors can actually can be considered as experts. Those master teachers for English could be classified also as experts, and those veteran English teachers can be classified as experts, and they can actually validate your instrument. What is the purpose of validating your instrument? You construct your own instrument based on the learning competencies, but you don't have yet the expertise. Why you don't have the expertise? You are still students. So basically, you don't have the expertise. But these people, the math supervisors, the English supervisors, the master teachers, and then the veteran math teachers, the veteran English teachers, the veteran science teachers, they have been there teaching the subject. They know the learning competencies. So they can actually validate your instrument. And during the validation, you are going to seek some comments, suggestions to improve your research instrument. And once you receive the comments, the suggestions, you are going to incorporate that one into the final draft of your instrument. And after that, you are going to undergo pilot testing. Why are you going to undergo pilot testing? Because you want to look at the readability of your instrument. Is it readable to the target respondents? So, from our end, we believe nga it's readable. But we will not be the one to answer that one finally. It's the target respondents. So, have a pilot testing to find out if that is readable and to find out if that is understandable. So we look at into the readability, we look at into the understandability of the research instrument. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
And through pilot
Sir.
testing, no? And
Yes,
through
sir.
pilot testing, you will be able to see, no? How long will it take to administer the questionnaire? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 40 minutes? And why are you able to determine? That's actually approximately 30 minutes, approximately 40 minutes, or 1 hour, because you have pilot tested it one. During the pilot testing, you are going to record the time. The time the administration of the instrument started and the time the answering of the questionnaire has ended. And you are going to record that one from one sample respondent in the pilot testing to another sample respondent of the pilot testing and to all of those respondents in the pilot testing, so that you have the idea how long will it take for you to administer the instrument. But remember, the pilot testing should not be done within the research locale. If you're sorry, my connection is actually interrupted. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Could you tell me on what was my last statement before I was disconnected?
About pilot testing. It was about the
Pilot
pilot
testing.
testing, sir.
Okay, about pilot testing. So the pilot testing should be, hold on for a moment. The pilot testing should not be done within the target population. So if your research locale and your target population is in Siquijor, then you are not going to have it in Siquijor. Have it in Dumaguete Schools Division. In the sample, chapter 1, in the sample proposal, the research locale was Siquijor DepEd Division. And the pilot testing was done here in Dumaguete. But of course, there should be parallelism or similarity of those who will be included in the pilot testing and those who will be included in the final data collection. So the proponent of the proposal considered senior high, grade 11 math teachers. So during the pilot testing, it must be grade 11 also, but in Dumaguete. If you look at into public school, so dapat public school also in Dumaguete. If you look at into grade 10, in your actual research locale, in your actual target population, then make use of grade 10 also in the pilot testing. Do you follow?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
So again,
Yes, sir.
what's the purpose of pilot testing? Could anyone tell me a synthesis on what's the purpose of pilot testing?
Colby, sir.
Okay, sige, Miss Akulbe.
To find out if it is readable or there is an understandability, sir.
Okay, to find out no the readability and understandability of all items in the research instrument. And another one is what
No,
other
sir.
thing aside
No,
from
go, sir.
readability and understandability? Go ahead, ma'am.
No, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another reason for having pilot testing is to see how long will it take to administer the questionnaire, the time of, and also the time of answering, sir.
Okay, perfect. So you have the estimate on how long will it take in answering the research instrument. Because normally, when you ask permission to administer the questionnaire, the principal would ask or the supervisor would ask, how long will it take for you to administer the questionnaire? And if you have not pilot tested that one, you could not say 30 minutes. You could not say 40 minutes. You could not say 50 minutes because you have not pilot tested that one. And you could not just have a blah, blah, blah. No? As a researcher, you must have a well-validated, estimated time allocation in answering the research instrument. Okay, so data gathering procedures, all of this will be followed also and contextualize this one based on your own research proposal. Okay, and then statistical treatment. So all of the statistical treatment should be copied because all of you will be following the same kind of format in the chapter 1 model. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But when you
Yes, sir.
copy, when I say copy, copy the thought, but contextualize that one based on your own research proposal. So is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then we have operational definition of terms. So operational definition of terms. Now take note in the operational definition of terms that only the terms found in the statement of the problem should be defined. Only the terms found in the statement of the problem should be defined. And these are the terms that have special meanings. These are the terms that the meanings can only be found in your own study. And as a researcher, you have the legal right to define the terms based on how you use those terms in your research proposal. If the term has a meaning the same to the meaning found in the dictionary, then do not actually define that one because that is a general term and it has a general definition. But if you use the term and that term has a special meaning in your research proposal, that would be the time that you are going to define that term. And we call that one as operational definition of terms, but commonly it is classified as definition of terms. Definition of terms is actually a part where all the terms used in the study and specifically all the variables used in the study must be defined according to the way they are being used in your own study or in your own research proposal. So for example, we look at into level of difficulty encountered by teachers in teaching general math for senior high school. So commonly, when I see definition of terms, they define the terms individually. They define level, they define difficulty, they define teaching. But you are not going to define those terms individually. Why? Because in the statement of the problem, you don't use level alone. You don't use difficulty alone. You don't use encountered alone. And you don't use teaching alone. So you are not going to define each of those terms individually. So how are you going to define that one? The term to be defined would not be just one word, but it is a phrase. And depending on the way you use that term, because the term used in the study would be a single word or maybe a combination of two words or a combination of three words, or we classify that one as a phrase or as a statement. So that's how you are going to define the terms. So we define level of difficulty encountered by teachers in teaching general math. But of course, when you copy, you're going to say contextualize that one by teachers in teaching whatever you have in your own research proposal. Do you follow? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Did you get me?
sir.
Did you understand on how are you going to define the term?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But of course, the definition must be copied. You say this refers to how difficult to teach is the learning competency in general math. But you are going to contextualize that one, no? Depending on what subject. You are going to copy the level of difficulty is categorized as very difficult to teach, moderately difficult to teach, then slightly difficult to teach, and not difficult to teach. So all of these must be copied. However, if the focus is a student, so you're going to change that one. Very difficult to learn, moderately difficult to learn, slightly difficult to learn, and not difficult to learn. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that
Yes,
would be
sir.
the first term to be defined and contextualized, that one based on your own research proposal. Then reasons for the difficulty. So reasons for the difficulty. So that must be copied exactly because that is our problem number 2. This pertains to all reasons that general math, blah, blah, blah. Then strategies employed by the teacher in overcoming the difficulties. If your target respondent is a student, so strategies employed by the student in overcoming the difficulties. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
then
sir.
the training design. So training design, because that is actually the main target, to come up with a training design. So this refers to blah, blah, blah. So you can copy that definition, but you are going to contextualize that one based on your operational definition of terms. So is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
any clarification to all of those parts, except for statement of the problem, the theoretical framework? No, I have actually discussed that one in those many consultations that we did here at Norsu College of Teacher Education. So any clarification? Hello, do you have any clarification? Do you have any clarification? Hello?
Of more literature is an answer. Duha sa descriptive of duha sa explanatory.
Yeah, that's correct. You can copy what is in there, but add to literature for descriptive design and then the explanatory research design. That's correct. And do not forget the reference.
Okay, sir.
What
Thank
else
you.
would you like to clarify? What else would you like to clarify? Anything that you would like to clarify? Hello?
None, no, sir.
There's
And
none.
so far, sir.
Okay. So what you are
None,
going
yes,
to
sir.
do, starting today, you are going to have na the complete chapter 1. The complete chapter 1. So have the complete chapter 1. Do you follow?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
You're
sir.
going to have the
Yes,
complete chapter 1. You're going to have the complete chapter 1. So is it clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I'll give you 1 week to do that. So by Tuesday, November 22, no? November 22, you are going to submit a hard copy, no, of your um, complete chapter 1 research proposal. First draft. Complete chapter 1 research proposal, but label that one as first draft. Did you get me?
Yes, sir. No.
November
Yes, sir.
22, during
Yes,
our class
sir.
period. November
Yes, sir.
22, during our class period, you're going to submit the research proposal chapter 1 and label that one as the first draft. So how are you going to do that? First page, the title of your research proposal. Jot down the first page, the title of your research proposal. And then that's on top. And then somewhere at the middle, by then your name. So that's what you are going to write, no, in the first page. The complete title of your research proposal on top. And then at the middle, by blah, 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 your complete name. And below your complete name, the course that you are taking. The complete name of your course that you are taking. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go
Yes, sir.
ahead.
Sir.
Ang ang format sa name, sir, last name mauna or first name?
First name. That's a very good question. Complete name, first name, middle initial, then last name. If you don't have middle initial, then that's okay. You will have only first name, then last name, if you don't have middle initial. If you have middle
Thank you,
initial,
sir.
first name, and then middle initial, then last name. And then second page. Second page is the table of contents. The second page, table of contents. So I want you to have a sample of course, you know what is a table of contents, and then have the pagination also. So chapter 1 in this format, the one that you see on the screen, will begin on the third page. Chapter 1, the problem and its scope, then follow all the sequencing of the different parts of chapter 1 based on the sample model. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, margin. Margin, take down of the margin. So when you look at the paper, the margin should be left side 1.5. Left side 1.5. Then all the other sides 1 inch. All the other sides 1 inch. All the other sides 1 inch. So left side, the left side is the one that you are going to place the fastener. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Left
sir.
side
Noted.
is the one
Yes, sir.
that
sir.
you are going to place the fastener. Then all other sides must be 1 inch. then you are going to have 1.5 ang spacing, not double space. 1.5 ang spacing. 1.5 spacing. Font size times 12. Font size 12. And then font type times New Roman. Do you follow? Font type times New Roman. And then font size 12, spacing 1.5 inch for 1.5 na ang spacing. Pagination. Pagination should be in the lower right-hand corner. So the pages should be written on the lower right-hand corner. So the pagination is lower right-hand corner. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The color of the folder is like this. Do you see this one? This is the color of the folder.
Noted, sir.
Okay, sir.
I'll stop sharing first. I'm going to pin myself. This is the color of the folder. Do you see this one?
Yes, sir.
And then short.
Yes, sir.
Short folder. Bond paper short. And then folder short also. And then where are you going to write your name? On this side. So your name should be first name, middle initial. If you have middle initial, then last name. And then the complete time schedule. The complete time schedule. No markings on the front cover of the folder. No markings of the front cover of the folder. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
sir.
And then tomorrow
sir.
afternoon, if you can pass by the office, get your yellow and green folder. Get your yellow and green folder. If you could not come, let someone pick your folder. So all must get your folders. And if you could not come, let someone get your folder. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So any other clarification? When will be the submission of that complete chapter 1?
Sir, Tuesday, November 22, sir.
November 22.
And that is not the final draft. That is the first draft. But complete, but first draft. Meaning I have to read it one. I will have also the initial correction for that. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Remember, the review of related literature should be based on your research proposal. You have the format already, no? You can copy some, but do not copy if the literature is not applicable to your research proposal. Okay? So take note of that. So first draft. So any clarification? If there's none, then kindly open your camera for the last checking of attendance. Open your camera. Okay. Okay, turn off na your camera. So bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
Bless you, sir.
Bye, sir. Goodbye. God
Bye-bye.
bless.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.